Welcome back to the Shred the Spread podcast. I'm your host, Jared, coming off of my personal bye. I apologize last episode for missing you guys, but when you have a great co-captain who can pilot the ship, you can leave him the keys, man. Shout out to Donnell for holding it down last episode. But we got business to handle. We've got business to handle. This is our Week 10 best bets, our 5 picks for our contest, currently sitting in 92nd place. We are in the money. Let's keep climbing. Can't keep climbing if you don't have winners. So let me introduce and bring in my co-host, my right-hand man, the grave digger with the shovel. I know what's going on, player.
Yeah. What's going on, my guy? You talking about welcome back to the Shred the Spread podcast. Welcome back, my guy. Shit was definitely kind of weird a little bit. That shit, like when I first started off the podcast, bro, you could tell I got used to it. Now you being there, bro. I felt like I was talking to myself, like I was really talking to a wall. But I'm glad you're back, bro. Let's get back to it, man. Let me grab my motherfucking shovel because we went digging again. Let's show them what we got this week.
Definitely feels good to be back. I missed it, a little bit under the weather. So for those of you guys who were wondering why I was not here, that is why. But obviously, Donnell did his thing. The bad, obviously, you guys didn't get to hear my side of the leans, which it's okay, because obviously you guys come to this episode right here for the winners. And that's what we've been doing. We've been dishing out dimes, dishing out winners, double doubles every week, assists and points. I'll tell you what, this week is an ugly one. We say that every week. It's always ugly, isn't it? But this one's definitely an ugly one. We've got a couple truthfully, we've had one dog this week. And you guys know Donnell and I live off the hungry dogs. But realistically, this is a spot for the big boys. These are the spots where the good teams show why they are going to be competing. And we've got some solid squads this league. Donnell, without further ado, let's get right into our picks.
All right, here we go.
So in all likelihood, Deshaun Jackson's going to at least get a return.
Deshaun Jackson gets a block. Are you kidding?
Way downtown. Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
I will pass you the baton for the first lap, Donnell. Go ahead and tell the fellas what we're on with our first pick.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and get comfortable. I'm about to tell you the first pick of our contest line that we're going to love this week, man, is Smokin' Joe and the Cincinnati Bengals -6.5 at home against the rookie quarterback, CJ Stroud. And get it, guys. Like I said, let's pump the brakes a little bit, all right? CJ Stroud had a great performance. I'm not going to knock that at all. 5 touchdowns, 472 yards. The rookie passing yards record for last game. But let's pump the brakes here. Let's slow down. The Tampa Bay secondary got absolutely carved. I did not see that coming whatsoever. Like I said, I was really heavy on the Buccaneers because of that, but they got absolutely shredded to pieces. The tight end Dalton Schultz had 10 receptions for 130 receiving yards. That will not happen. This not happen this week. This Bengals defense is a lot better in my eyes. They can produce pressure. They're very, very sneaky and underrated. And on top of that, Smokin' Joe is back. This Bengals team is back, and they have to start going to the run anyway because they got to keep up for this division. There's a lot on the line there's a lot on the line this week and further on. And Cincinnati at home against a rookie quarterback. What are we talking about here, man? -6.5 is definitely the right angle in my eyes.
Yeah, I think we're getting some public overinflation on the Texans. Obviously, CJ Stroud looked incredible, but we're not going to forget that this guy lost to the Panthers. It takes a special type of quarterback and team to lose to the Panthers. And I think they only put up like 13 or 10 points or whatever it was. So there are games. You can listen. At the end of the day, he's still a rookie. He's still going to be learning. This team that he's going up against this week, yeah, they might be without T. Higgins and possibly without Jamar Chase. But although I think Jamar Chase will play, but this defense does get pressure. This team is veteran-like. They're very young and youthful, but they're a winning culture. They have been in the playoffs consistently. They put up numbers. Joe Burrow looks healthy. I think people are still a tad behind on the value for Joe Burrow just because he started off the year looking shaky, but we called it. He wasn't healthy. He was playing through an injury. Joe Burrow is moving around in the pocket. He's making plays. He's extending drives there, and they're converting on third down. This Texans defense is one of the worst teams in the last 3 weeks on stopping the pass on third down. We have a quarterback, which is crazy to sound because he's only been in the league for a few years, but he's got that veteran, he's got that veteran swag to him. Like he makes the right reads, the correct reads. He's going to put his team in a winning position. So I have this game about 24-17. I think the Bengals win, honestly, by exactly 7 points. If this was Texans plus 7 or 7.5, the value would flip. But we're getting the Bengals just shy of a touchdown in a game that's pretty much must win because they're still catching the Ravens. That leads us into our next pick, the Ravens minus 6.5. This is playing off basically the same note. Lamar Jackson is this Browns defense's kryptonite. Myles Garrett feasts on quarterback that like to stand in the pocket. What does Lamar do? He uses his legs to his advantage. He is the best mobile quarterback in the entire NFL. He is the shiftiest. He's the quickest. He's the most nimble. This quarterback is not what the Browns want to face. You saw it a few weeks ago. Lamar Jackson was on the either side of all 4 of the touchdowns scored. They scored 28 points. Lamar Jackson threw 2 and he rushed for 2. This Browns defense, they're going to get tired. They feast on the quarterback standing in the pocket, taking a little bit too long to make the read. And the reality of it is this Ravens team is pretty much at their peak right now. We have to catch them while they're at their peak. The Browns offense is a little shaky. Deshaun Watson is obviously not the same quarterback that he was in Houston. But the biggest thing that I've taken away from Deshaun Watson is, he doesn't turn the ball over, but he doesn't convert on third down. And when they get into the red zone, they struggle. This Ravens defense is, I think, the first or second in red zone efficiency. That speaks volume when you have a 6.5 point spread instead of like a 3.5 point spread. So I feel as if the Ravens get in the red zone, they score touchdowns. This Browns team is 29th in red zone efficiency. And I know that sounds crazy because the defense is so stout. Between the hash lines, the 25 and the 25, the Browns defense is the best in the league. When they get within their red zone, they turn into a pumpkin. They forget what they're doing. And the biggest thing is they cannot contain the quarterback in the pocket in the red zone. And this is where Lamar Jackson will thrive. The red zone, he makes the reads. He's got Mark Andrews. This rushing offense has looked ridiculously better the last few weeks, and they're getting better and better. And the overall aspect of this theme of the game is health. The Browns are missing 3 offensive linemen, and the Ravens are as healthy as they've ever been. We love the Ravens in the spot, minus 6.5. I will say you guys are probably surprised to hear that one. Dino, I know I just went on an incredible rant there, but did I miss anything from this Ravens pick?
You didn't miss a goddamn thing. This is why I love you. I brought up on the last episode, man. Like I said, the one thing I wish Jared was here about is that second voice, that other voice that I can really learn from and kind of pull from. I mean, I call that man Mr. Analytics because that motherfucker comes up with numbers out the ass. And he, like I said, but he hit every point. He hit exactly every point. In the last episode, I was on the Browns plus 6.5, concerning the fact that I was like, damn, you're taking the Browns defense plus 6.5 in a division game. But let's be honest, like you said, the last result, Ravens handled business. They dominated. I believe they're at home again. The Browns offense has been shoddy at best. And let's give respect to the Ravens defense too. To me, they're actually the number 1 defense in the league right now. So, I mean, it all makes sense and it adds up.
Yeah, sports betting is all about catching teams at their peak. And I think this is where the Ravens are at their peak. Now, This may be the week that it kind of falls off, but I just don't see it because I think the overall takeaway is the difference in health from these two teams. I think that's why that number is so big because realistically, I feel like this number, especially division game, should be like 4.5. So I think the number is telling as to what the books are projecting. The Ravens team is healthy. We got to go with the healthier team, the divisional matchup, and the Ravens are steamrolling right now. Let's not get off the train. Let's ride the shit till the wheels fall off. Dino, I will give you the honor. Give the fellas our third pick.
The third pick in our contest is no other doubt than one of the picks I liked this past week. One of the picks I would say me and Jared fully, wholeheartedly agreed on, and that is the Jaguars plus 3.5. And I'm gonna tell you something, guys. Like I said, I said in the episode before, I thought this was gonna go down. Like I said, I said the contest was gonna be towards the half, so I was trying to figure out which half was gonna lean towards, and I definitely thought it was gonna be at the 2.5 margin. The fact that they gave us the half a point in our favor, passing a key number, was lights out, knocking the door right there. Like I said, I respect Brock Purdy. I truly respect Brock Purdy. He is not an elite quarterback. Like I said, those first 5 weeks when he put up 30 points, that offense was heavily inflated. Now they're playing really, really good teams down the stretch. They lost their last 3. And this Jaguars defense is no joke. Absolutely no joke whatsoever. Trevor Lawrence is finding it. ETN seems to be holding on to the ball, which was one of the issues throughout his career. And basically for that core to really limit the turnovers. And they have so far. And when you can limit the turnovers and have a good defense behind you, just like the Jaguars is right now, you're giving me plus 3.5 against a struggling 49ers team right now. And to me, like I said, Brock Purdy's not elite. They're about to go in here. They're about to show out. And to me, there's no hesitation to take the plus 3.5 here. Got to take the points with the Jaguars, like I said.
I think the biggest difference in this game is Deebo Samuel was questionable. He has been limited participant in practice. I think he plays, but Trent Williams hasn't he DNP'd this week coming off of a bye.
Mhm.
If you're DNPing off of a bye, that just, I mean, granted,
You're
he's
not
a
100%.
veteran. He doesn't need to practice. But if you're coming off of a bye, that is where I expect you to have at least a limited. But he DNP'd on Wednesday, so I think that's something to watch. If Trent Williams doesn't play this game, I think the Jaguars win this outright. And I know it doesn't necessarily sound crazy, but you can just see the difference in the offensive rhythm without the bodyguard. Like the blind side is wide open on Brock Purdy, and he does have I will give it to him. He does have some decent pocket presence, but this is a big game. Like, this sounds crazy, but this is a huge game for the Niners. They've been in a downward spiral. They kind of have to win this game. Like, Seahawks, I believe they're leading the division now after last week.
Yeah, man.
Maybe not.
They both lost. No, they are. Remember, we said
they are, because they both lost.
And then they both lost last week. Yes.
Yeah. So the Niners, are they in, panic mode? No, they still have talent. They still have Christian McCaffrey, but realistically, this is a game that they want to win, especially coming off of the bye. So do I think the Niners go out there with a better scheme? Yes, but this Jaguars team, I feel like they still are getting undervalued by the public. Like, this is one of the best, in my opinion. This is one of the top 4 teams in the AFC. Like, they're going to win their division. They're going to give every team a run for their money. And, we see it. Like, this Jaguars team can compete with the best of them offensively and defensively. So I love that Dynel was on this pick on Wednesday. I heard it and I smiled because I loved the Jaguars since the beginning of the week. This was one of the plays where we didn't even have to discuss. So give us the Jaguars at home plus 3.5.
At home. Sheesh.
Okay, this next one's a pretty chalky. This is probably one of our most public bets of the entire year. I'm not gonna lie, I don't feel great about it, but we're playing the number here, and it's the Lions minus 2.5 against the Chargers. Okay, I know. The Lions should win this game. They should. They're going out to LA. LA is not necessarily a home game for the Chargers anymore. The away team kind of travels better. And, a lot of times Justin Herbert's out there, participating in a silent count at his own home field. That's what I like. I think this Lions defense, they have some good fans. They are starting to build up the resume of a true football team. MCDC's got that team buzzing. Jared Goff Dino made a really good point before we recorded this, and he said Jared Goff's played on the West Coast pretty much his whole beginning of his career. And that's true because he was on the Rams. And, with that being said, Jared Goff in good weather, aka or a dome, that's where we like to back him the most.
Yes,
so
sir.
We're getting the Lions in good weather. Jared Goff, they're coming off of a bye. I like the Lions in the spot. I know it's chalky, but this line has went from 1 to 3 on the books. We're getting it at 2.5 in the contest. I think we got to play it just at that number.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And to be honest with you, as far as the Chargers aspect of it, man, I mean, I feel like it was kind of inflated to begin with, concerning the fact that in their last 2 games they won. They won handedly by double digits, but it was against the Chicago Bears and New York Jets. I feel like that's kind of fresh in Vegas's mind. So the number to me is still off kilter. And I get, like I said, he brought it up. I get that Jared Goff is on the road and you're taking the fish out of the bowl, but that bowl is, it's still comfortable out there. It's not like it's going to be a terrible, terrible weather. Like I said, I honestly have complete faith in backing up Jared Goff here this week, especially with David Montgomery coming back too, which he has been absent for the last 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, so this Lions team is getting healthier off of a bye, extended rest. I think they go out there and handle business. Defenses, they're not no pushover. So, we've seen Justin Herbert, he's on and off. So, did he get right against the Bears? I mean, shit, any offense could get right against the Bears. So, take that with a grain of salt. But I think this is a really good spot for the Lions. I think they go on a little streak here. They're getting into a decent part of their schedule where they can rack up some wins. And I think it starts this week. I think the Lions go ahead and they handle business. To the caboose. The last in line, last but not least, I should say. Listen, I just want to give a forewarning to everybody. You guys hate this pick. Yeah. You hate it. You don't like when I say the name. It's 4 very ugly letters in a consecutive order. But I'll explain here in a second. With that being said, we are going to be on the Jets minus 1.5. I know. Please keep the podcast on. I know you want to turn it off. You've heard enough. But listen, hear me out. You know we do ugly things on this podcast. We make ugly picks. We make the picks nobody else wants to make. Someone's got to be on this side, and we usually are the ones that do so. The Raiders just fired their coach last week. That was such a rah-rah spot. Donnell and I saw that coming a mile away. The Raiders were going to handle business, played one of their best games of the season, and Davante Adams had one target or one catch, whatever it was. He's happy in the locker room dancing. You know, Josh Jacobs got going. He scored a touchdown. Aiden O'Connell back there, the leader, the quarterback, the leader in the lock. Like, it seems too good to be true. Okay, so what happens? Historically, when a number flips, this number opened up at Jets -2.5. It got shot down to Jets -1, and it flipped. The Jets went to a dog. Statistically, so in the Raiders spot, when the Raiders start off as an underdog +1 and they flip to a favorite, that team that has flipped from a dog to a favorite statistically is like well below 40% against the spread the last like 6 seasons. I got that stat from Evan Abrams of the Action Network. Shout out to him. So when a team flips from a dog to a favorite, they are significantly worse against the spread as against the team that goes from a favorite or a dog. A favorite to a dog.
A favorite to a dog. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that's the Jets in this case. Well, right before we recorded this episode, I saw that the Jets flipped back to a favorite within the last 4 hours. It is currently 8:30 Eastern on 8:30 Eastern on Friday. That means within the last 4 hours, a pretty heavy group came in on the Jets. And I'm not saying that's our very main reason for picking the Jets here, but we have to take a step back and look at this from a broad perspective. When the Jets lost to the Chargers, they were like the first team in the NFL history to hold a team under like 200 passing yards or total offensive yards, win every other category, including time of possession, passing yards, yards per attempt, third down conversion, fourth down conversion, and lose the game. That's how stout that defense is. Now they're going up against the Raiders defense where a few weeks ago, that team turned into a pumpkin. They couldn't get past the 50-yard line. They were kicking field goals down by 7 with no time left in the game. Like, they were doing ridiculous stuff. And yes, I know Josh McDaniels is not there anymore. And I know this new coach is like a motivator. He gets you going, but you can only get going so far when you run into a brick wall. When you got Sauce Gardner back there and that defense, Quincy and Quinnen Williams coming through that line, making plays, that defense is disgusting. They're going to make Aiden O'Connell see ghosts. I would not be surprised if this is the game that the Jets go out there and step on the Raiders' necks. I just got this gut feeling, dude. I think the Jets just go out there and have a hell of a game, maybe one of their best games of the season. We've got to fade this public perception. I know the Raiders are this glory team right now. Oh my God, they fired the coach. They just went out there and handled business. Okay, this is where they let us down. This is where the public gets on the Raiders. They let them down, and the people like Donnell and I and a few other groups go to the counter to cash our ticket, and they look at us like, wow, how'd you know? You know why we know? Because we don't follow these, love stories and these, gooey dramas. We go out here to make money. We got to make the professional pick. And if you want to be on the right side, it's the Jets -1, 1.5. Shit, I'd bet this shit all the way up to -6.5. I think the Jets roll this week, Dino.
Most certainly. And here's like I said, and this is like I said, this is why you're like my other side. You're like I'm the yin, you're the yang. And I was so caught, and you guys can quote me on this. The last episode, I was on that high. I was all in favor of the coaching change and how everything feels good. All, it's sunshines and rainbows. Everybody's eating chicken and dancing around at the cookout. Now it comes back to reality. One of the top defenses of the league is coming in. It's coming in now. On top of that, Aiden O'Connell is still your quarterback. Come on, guys. You're not going to try to sell me that Aiden O'Connell is the answer. Honestly, I still don't think he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. The only difference is he don't really turn the ball over as much as he does. On top of that, like you said, Davante Adams, one target, man. How you think that's gonna bode against that Jets defense, that Jets passing defense? And just not too long ago, like I said, this running offense was absolutely atrocious all throughout the season except for last week. And that was against an atrocious team in the New York Giants. Guys, we seen that game coming from a mile away. Like I said, we had to take a step down, pump the brakes a little bit, and come back to reality. Okay, this Jets defense is built to win here. They like this Las Vegas Raiders team won 4 games, right? Won 4 games, and one of those there's only one game they scored 30 points, and that was last week. All right, this offense is no good at all. It's going to produce a lot of short fields for Zach Wilson and Breece Hall mainly, because as long as Breece Hall runs the ball, this Jets offense is somewhat manageable, no doubt. I'll definitely take the Jets. After talking with my man here, the Jets is definitely the best pick to go, but hands down.
Yeah, like and I'm not trying to sit here and make this podcast all about trends and stuff, but history repeats itself. And if you want to be on the right side, like I tell you guys all the time, sports betting is like playing blackjack. If you play it by the book long term, you're going to give yourself the best chance to be profitable. And if statistically a favorite going to a dog is profitable in the Jets side, you know, I bet the Jets at +1. I'm surprised as hell that's back down to -1. That means some serious group had to come in heavy on these Jets. Listen, I'm not saying this shit is all, you know, free money, but, you know, if we're getting a good opportunity with history to back us, I think you just have to be on that side. Given the rest of the games that are on the slate, I mean, what do we do? Want to lay 30 points with the Cowboys? Do we want to take a shot in the dark with the Commanders and the Seahawks? Like, there's just some really sketchy games where I feel like the Jets they have to win this game if they want to have any hope. The Raiders, they're left for dead. I mean,
They're done.
it is
They're
what
cooked.
it is.
They're cooked.
Like at least the Jets kind of have something to play for. And yes, the Jets just lost last week, but we got to remember this team's before that were coming off of 3 wins. So, give me the Jets, dude. I know it's ugly, but this is a spot we have to play. This is the play Donnell and I have to make.
Yes,
this
we
is
do.
the play we make.
Yes, we do.
It's ugly, but we got to roll with our guns, man. Like, you know, we can't shy away from the ugliness now. It's the middle of the season. We got to do what the big dogs do. So that gives us our 5 picks. The Bengals -6.5, the Ravens -6.5, the Jaguars +3.5, the Lions -2.5, and the Jets -1.5. Donnell and I went 4-1 last week. Bryce Young, kick rocks. But yeah, dude, that's our 5 picks. Our survivor pick. If you guys have been following me all season, you guys have been playing like Matrix like wire dodge. I mean, the red lasers on the wall, we have been so nimble dodging these big letdown games. Like, I mean, it's unreal. And it just so happens that your boy has set you guys up with the most reasonable / best case scenario for this week. While all these other people lost on the Cowboys against the Cardinals. Oh my gosh. What was your guys' survivor pool? 20, 30, 40% of your entries. Those guys took the Cowboys against the Cardinals. Okay, well, your boy saw that coming from a mile away. He didn't take the Cowboys. You know what? Because we saved the Cowboys for this week. The Cowboys play the Giants. If you are in a big money pool, this is your safe bet. If you are looking for a Cowboy spot later in the year, I'm sorry, I did not look into it that much. You're on your own this week, because if you guys have been following me, this is the spot that we've been circling. It's the Giants. We're taking the Cowboys against the Giants for our survivor pool. There's no other pick that I'm even looking at. I got the Cowboys. This is where I'm going to use them. So that is the survivor pick. Dino, what would you say our last pick out would be? Someone asked us about if we forced in a 6th pick, what would it be? Did you have anything off the top of your head?
Off the top of my well, I would have to say I mean, like I said, I don't play big numbers. I mean, it's going to be a blowout in Dallas. I honestly believe that. That might be the 6th pick, but if I keep looking, let me see. Keep looking. I know we talked about another game earlier. Oh, yes, the Saints. Sorry, the Saints. The Saints would be our 6th game out. The reason why it's kind of out is mainly, I don't lie to you, it's mainly because of me. Like I said in the last podcast, man, the Saints' inconsistencies is a blessing and a curse at the same time, man. They're good at right one week, but they don't here and there. It's kind of tough. And I believe, are they at home?
They're on the road.
They're on the road, and that's, like I said, that was kind of like another factor there too. So I would say our 6th pick would definitely be the Saints. They have a decent matchup. The matchup points in the Saints' direction, I guess, especially with Joshua Dobbs being a quarterback. It's his 2nd week in a new system. And yes, he had a big week with scoring 31 points against the Atlanta Falcons, but there's a reason why he did. That fucking head coach Arthur Smith is sitting in my dungeon right now because of that shit. That will not happen again. And honestly, like you said, the lean Saints there, but whew, boy, that's why we let them out of our contest, man. A little too much inconsistencies there. Especially with Derek Carr, but being a favorite as well.
Yeah. So Justin, shout out to you for DMing us and asking us about our last one in. I guess that does, if you guys, were against us on 1-5, you guys are also in like a contest or just for betting purposes. We did get a few DMs asking us about our last one out. So yeah, definitely probably the Saints. But with that being said, those are our 5 picks and our survivor pool. Let's keep cruising. Let's keep climbing. Let's see where we are at the end of this week. Donnell and I will be back. I will be back. I promise. Won't let you guys down 2 weeks in a row on the Wednesday show. But Donnell and I will be back on Wednesday for our Week 11 preview. You be sure to follow us on Twitter at @ShredTheSpread_. You can also follow us on TikTok at @ShredTheSpread. This has been the Week 10 Best Bets for the Shred the Spread podcast. For Donnell, myself, and our awesome producer, Tyler, holding it down in the back. Till next time, we'll see you.
Peace.